Question that you had earlier is what can we do? What are the things that we can do to help balance and get energized and kind of do these things? So I'm gonna see if I can, because you're getting my eyesight. What's the root cause of my eyesight problem? Okay, so I want to walk you through a few things that you can do, and I'll show you one or two things that you can do here as well, so you can walk out today. Okay, so I'm going to ask you first, what's the first thing that you can do if you have a problem, a medical disease, ailment, pain? What's the first thing that you can do based upon what we talked about here today? Pray. Yeah. Okay.
I imagine focus on it, figure out what origin it might have.
Absolutely. Find the root cause.
Yeah, find out about it.
Find the root cause. Ask yourself, your body is really intelligent. It's so intelligent if you pay attention to it. A lot of times that volume, we have it on really low or we have it on off and we're not listening to our body. So I would say ask yourself and ask your body, what's the root cause of this? What can I do? What am I doing to contribute to it? One of the things you can do is journal at night. What I love to do is have a journal book that I write a question in before I go to sleep. And sometimes I wake up and the answer is there. But sometimes it takes a while. And if you want to know about journaling, Amy's got a session later today.
1:45.
Now, complementary techniques is something else that you can look into. So, acupuncture. Acupuncture is really good for balancing out your energy. Okay? Asian bioenergetics, the same thing, but we don't use needles. Do not use needles. Chinese medicine, if you can find a traditional Chinese medicine doctor, none for myself is, and I'm so, how do I say, hooked on, not hooked, but an advocate of it, is doing a cleanse. Now, detoxing, intermittent cleansing, you don't have to go through some serious cleanses, but if you can, great. You can do intermittent cleanses where you're not eating, for 12 hours. So don't eat your meals late at night. If you have your last meal at 6 o'clock, then not eat until 6 in the morning, for example. Give your body, because everything you eat, your body's taking energy for that digestion. So the more you have to digest, it's energy that could be used for something else. Like meat. Meat takes a lot more, red meat takes a lot more for your digestion, the energy. So a cleanse. There's also a cleanse called an Ayurvedic cleanse, and it's called Panchakarma. So it's an Ayurvedic technique, and I'm sold on that because I did it, and I guess it's the best thing I've ever done. But they really cleanse from a cellular level. When I did it, I ended up, it wasn't my goal to lose weight. It wasn't even my goal to find this cleansing place. It just happened. But I lost about 8 pounds, and I said to the doctor, I don't see where I've lost any weight. And he says, it's the toxins that you've lost. You've rid your body of the toxins.
Where do you do? How do you find out about that?
I just went online and found a few. Now, I actually did mine in India, but there are places in the U.S. that do it.
How do you spell it?
Ayurveda, it's
I know how to spell it.
Ayurveda.
Oh, that, okay.
And it's called Pancha, Pancha, Karma, Karma. It's one word. Panchakarma. For me, it was the best thing I've ever done. Qigong. That's movement of your energy and balancing. So if you're doing that, good for you. Those are great, and they're easy. They're easy to do. I mean, you were doing it, and someone else was doing it.
I do it in the water.
Okay.
That's what I do too. Where do you do it?
At home.
Well,
In the
those
summer.
Oh, in Dothan?
Okay.
Because it's easier on you.
Yeah.
You can do
And
breathing
she's Chinese.
techniques. Breathing techniques. I can show you one here today if you want to be shown one. Would you like it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so let me explain it first, and then I'll walk you through it. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to sit comfortably the way your feet You're just gonna rest your left hand on your lap, just make it comfortable. And then you're gonna put your right hand on right underneath your belly. Okay, so when you breathe, you're gonna breathe in through your nose. And just imagine it going over your head, down your spine. And when you get to your perineum, just clench, like you're go to the bathroom. And then breathe out through the mouth, through the front. So think of your breath going in a circle. Okay, so I'll kind of walk you through it. So just gonna hold your right hand on your belly. You're gonna breathe in through your nose. Go over your head, down your spine, clench, and then breathe out. So I'll walk you through one more time. Okay. So breathe in through your nose. Imagine it going over your head, down your spine, clench, and then breathe out through the nose. So what that's doing is that you're giving yourself energy. You're giving yourself energy.
Isn't that part of yoga?
Pardon?
Isn't that part of yoga?
Breathing is a big part of yoga. This is a Tibetan breathing technique, and what it is that your kidneys are like a storage bank for energy. So this area, and you're kind of bringing the energy in and bringing it here. If you want that technique, I can email you if you give me your details, or email me. I have one sheet, or of course, if you have the book, it's in the book as well. Meditation. What do you think about when you think about meditation?
I have a hard time with that.
Why do you have a hard time?
Just to calm my mind.
Okay.
I have a hard time with that. I mean, I try it all the time, but
Okay.
I don't get where I want to go.
Do you garden?
I do to some extent. I used to do a lot more, but I've had health issues, so I can't get down anymore. But I use a stool and I go out there and garden. And when I do things, this is true, when I do something like gardening, or if I'm left-handed, so I just learned how to knit and crochet, which is hard for left-handers, or it was for me. And when you do things like that, it does take your mind off of everything else. But what I want to do is I want to be able to sit down and just meditate. I want to get there, and I can't.
All right, that's very common. So one of the biggest things is like, oh, and even when I started, I was like, oh, am I doing this right? Or too many thoughts are going in my head. Meditation is not about not thinking. For me, it's about being more aware of your thoughts and not being attached to those thoughts. Because when you start thinking something, it leads to something else, and before you know it, you've made up a whole big story in your head. And the reason I asked you about gardening, because some people garden and it's very therapeutic. Or if you're a runner, I've never been a runner, but some runners, they say they get into a zone. So that's what it's about. It's just getting away from those thoughts that are all over the place and just being more aware of them. So not to completely have no thoughts. That's a misconception. And even experienced meditators, I can tell you, they'll tell you that there's not a day where they don't have any thoughts. So it's not about getting rid of those thoughts. It's about calming your brain waves down. And for me, part of that is being aware of the thoughts and letting them go. So when I started meditating, one of the techniques, it was a Buddhist technique, they said, imagine your thoughts as clouds. So imagine your brain is a blue sky, and your thoughts as clouds. And as your thoughts come in, just imagine them floating away. So that's so then you don't get attached to those thoughts, because that's kind of what makes us crazy.
When I was a Girl Scout, we signed peace I ask of thee, O river, over and over and over. And I'm a kayaker, and the clouds, they educated me. I just floated, and now I get out on that river, Carpenter's Creek. It is, you've got the clouds, you've got the waves floating by, your body is rocking in a kind of a natural way. It's, if anybody can do it without tipping over. My my students used to all say, oh yeah, we know how to canoe, anybody can canoe. But I mean, there's some techniques you have to learn. But otherwise, meditation is wonderful.
And that's the way, and she's not sitting there, posed with her legs crossed, her fingers like this. She's found another way to do it. And that, so to me, the important thing about meditation is that it's not maybe what you perceive it to be, it's just getting into that zone so you can allow your mind to relax and calm, and your brain waves to calm down. Okay, yoga. So, this is the picture I wish I had up. Okay, you try it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So, now, if I ask you about yoga, does anyone here do yoga?
I do.
You do? Yay.
I just have started
Okay, good for you.
the last 4 months.
That's awesome. So let me ask, should I ask you, what are I can't do those crazy poses, or I'm not flexible enough, or I'm too old. And
It's not the case.
thank you. It's not the case, but you'd be surprised. Now, I had a picture which you can't see. When I was in India, we were doing yoga, and the instructor, the one that was there on this day, she was 20 years old. She was one of the best instructors I had. She was so in tune with her students and the way they move and what they could and couldn't do. But one of the persons that was also attending for her first time was 73 years old. So to me it was special because you have a really young instructor who's good. She was 73 years old and she started it. So
I'm 76 and I just started. So
we need to put you on a poster. Awesome. Okay, I'm
Did
gonna
you
move.
go to the Destin Community Center?
The
There's a lot of people like me.
Okay, good. It's so good. Okay, so I think we're getting close to time, so I'm gonna start to wrap up. Two of the biggest things, these are takeaways that you can do today. No cold drinks. So no ice in those drinks. That's really big. And then the other thing is, how many of you walk on the floor barefooted? Cold floors. I'll tell you what, underneath, remember I said your energy, there's a storage here in your kidneys, it's like a savings account. Well, you have on the bottom of your feet kidney points. And if you're walking on the floor, cold floor barefooted, earth is different. But if you're walking on your artificial floor like this, or carpet, or tiles in your house, there's kidney points on the bottom of your feet. So it zaps your energy. Okay, so these are things you could do today. No bare feet, cold floors, and no cold drinks.
But what about?
Socks are good. If you wear socks, then keep your feet warm.
But they say outside if you walk, outside on the ground.
On the earth is fine, yes. But on artificial floors, no.
But are you picking, when you do that outside, are you since you have skin on your feet, aren't you picking up whatever is on that land? My neighbor was doing that, and they were getting, and they really do, like, I don't do all that fertilizing mess. But they do, and it dawned on her, she said to me one day, I'm out here walking, but I don't think this is good.
Yeah, well, you're right. We talked about the contamination.
Yes.
That's an impact of it. So if you don't use it in your yard, that's great. Then it's good. Yeah, if you're doing somewhere,
There's all kinds of stuff growing there. There's these little round things that have little prickers on them. You don't want to walk on them.
you don't have to walk on the bare. Honestly, I'm not suggesting that you do, but someone asked the question. But if it's cold earth and it's good and it's not toxic, then great. But in your home,
Even hardwoods, like natural wood.
natural wood, you're okay. But your artificial wood, your tiles, like I've got as long as it's not cold. Because if it's cold, it's zapping your. So if your carpet is warm and your feet are warm when you're on your carpet, you're okay.
Well, I'm not wearing socks.
But is it warm? Are your feet warm?
Yeah,
Is
feet
the
are
carpet
warm with socks.
Then you're okay. It's just the cold.
I'm glad that somebody in the world said I was okay.
How long did it take? I served my purpose today.
Do you have a practice?
I have a practice that I do from my home. Yes.
Is it here in this area?
Yes, it's off of 83 near Juniper Lake. Yes. I have some cards in the back and I have some brochures if you want to take.
What's your practice? What do you do?
I do Asian bioenergetics, which we've kind of talked about here. I do Reiki, so energy healing with Reiki. So I'm a practitioner and I also teach Reiki. I also work with NLP coaching. So we talked earlier about the subconscious level and how we have things embedded there. So I work with folks that are feeling stuck and they want to clear. When we talked about the emotions hanging on to them and you don't know where they're from or how to get rid of them, I work with folks to help to clear that. So I was a typical person. I actually did this like 10 years ago for me, and I didn't know what it was. But it was life-changing. I just completely changed my way of thinking, just clearing out those emotions that you're holding on to that are not appropriate. It's good to have emotions, that's normal, but what happens is we build up over time inappropriate and it becomes a problem. So to your question, because we're getting there, I have brochures in the back if you want to take one and cards. And if you have questions, you can email me or contact me. Okay, so just wrapping up a little bit more, right? Okay. So talking about, so releasing your emotions, that's a big one, and neuro-linguistic programming and timeline therapy is really good for that. And making lifestyle changes. So one of the big ones that you can walk away with today is drinking water when you wake up in the morning. If you're not doing it, drink a glass of water when you wake up. It really gets your system moving.
Good idea.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Good idea.
Even if you wake up at night.
Yes, and even when you wake up at night and before you go to bed as well. 30 minutes before you eat, if you drink a glass of water, it'll help with your digestion. Okay, so to your, one of you mentioned earlier, I just want to wrap up and tell you that there's a lot of stuff, right? There's so much information today. So all I would say to you is start somewhere if you haven't already, and don't feel overwhelmed. Just start, make small steps. Do what's right for you, because there's a lot of info out there and everybody knows everything about everything. So do what's right for you. Listen and trust your body, because it's going to tell you what it needs. And take one step at a time, one day at a time. So just do the best you can with what you've got, and it will lead to the next thing. So, okay. I think because we're wrapped up on time, I need to wrap it up. So I, again, appreciate you being here. Thank you very much.